Icy Hot Pro with 2 max strength pain relievers. Targets multiple pain receptors. Ice works fast. Heat makes it last.
Hello, Nigel here. As an owl, I love to be awake all night, but allergy sufferers like you probably don't feel the same. So take Xyzal at night to relieve allergies while you sleep. Then wake up fully refreshed for a more productive day. Xyzal works fast and offers 24-hour continuous relief from sneezing, runny nose, itchy watery eyes, and itchy nose and throat, so you can enjoy doing the things you love all day long. Be Wiseall. Take Xyzal at night. Use as directed. Starts working in 45 minutes.
Brooks Running reminds us that we're all powered by something. Whether it's the me-time energy of a run after a day at the office, the electrifying energy of your first marathon, or the infectious energy of a group run with your friends. No matter what energy powers you, Brooks has gear specifically designed to unleash it. So lace up and let it out. Let's run there. Visit brooksrunning.com today to learn more.
Sweat moves you forward. Degree Antiperspirant is here to make sure it never holds you back. Clocking in, sweat. Lunch meeting, sweat. Biking home, sweat. Degree Advanced is for the hustlers who put in the sweat. The world's #1 antiperspirant with up to 72-hour sweat and odor protection. Degree, here for sweat. Try it today.
Welcome in, everybody. This is the Falcons Podcast. My name is Scott Kennedy. I will be joined by Nick Kendall before too long. And we've got a Wednesday ahead of the Minnesota Vikings game as the Falcons are 0-1, and the Vikings had a very impressive comeback on Sunday Night Football to go to Monday Night Football. Sunday Night Football? Monday night? I'm not even sure. It runs together when you're doing stuff every day. To go up to 1-0 and with their rookie quarterback, who looked like a rookie quarterback for 3 quarters and then all of a sudden looked like a top 10 pick in the 4th quarter against the Bears defense. So we're going to get into all of that. I titled this, How do the Falcons Bounce Back? And there were some really good things that we like seeing in this game against Tampa Bay. So, we're not throwing in the towel by any stretch of the imagination. And we said the Falcons were underdogs going into this game. And if they started 0-1, it wasn't the end of the world. They started 0-1 last year and then shocked the world by going up and beating Philly last year. They didn't miss the playoffs last year because they went 0-1. They missed the playoffs because they lost 4 in a row after sitting at 6-3 and having a 2.5 game lead over the Buccaneers in week 11 and spitting the bit. That's where it all went bad. So it is a long season, and we're not ready to say goodbye to it just yet, especially with no first-round draft pick. We're not talking about next year until, February. But we go live every Monday and Wednesday, and then Garrett goes live on Tuesdays and Thursdays because we like having the conversation with y'all. So I want to say hello to some folks like Rusty coming in. Rusty says, if we couldn't run on Tampa Bay, I don't see how we run on Minnesota. If Drake doesn't play, this is a guaranteed L. Drake's important, obviously. Then we'll see what comes back with we'll see if Mooney comes back. He's obviously important. And again, when I was watching this game, the one thing I do not want to see against the Minnesota Vikings, because they play so many guys close to the line of scrimmage, is side to side. You cannot play horizontal against this team. You can't play wide receiver screens, tight end screens. If it's a third check down to Bijan Robinson because everybody else has backed off it, fine. That's different than setting up screens constantly. They're too good in their front seven, and they're too aggressive with Brian Flores as their defensive coordinator to try and go side to side. You're going to have to go right at them running the ball, and you cannot abandon the run on this. And Rusty coming in back-to-back talking about, says, I was going to go to the Carolina Panthers game because you live in North Carolina, but I'm not sure I want to spend $500 on tickets to watch 2 potentially 0-2 teams. So I was like, what? What are you talking about? So I clicked on ESPN. I clicked on the score and it says tickets as low as $47. I'm like, what, Rusty? What are you talking about? I'm like, all right, let me see exactly where those tickets are. And dude, you're right. The only things that were from $47, anything under $100 was only in the 300 section in the upper ring. Everything underneath that was at least $200. I was shocked. So must be, decent business. Get your season tickets for the Carolina Panthers now just so you can resell them. My goodness. Decent business. So I will bet a lot of money if those two teams are 0-2, those come down a lot by game time. Coming in with a super chat already. Greg Elrod, appreciate the support, my friend. He says, good morning, my favorite sports talk guy. Have a great show. Thank you, my friend. It's better already. Better already with you here, lighting up our show with the green, literally the green here. That's not a double entendre there. Helping to keep this forehead nice and shiny, and the hair work in my forehead was extra big today. So things are going good today. Certainly appreciate it, Greg, with the support. John Harrell is here. Good morning, family. Happy hump day. Right back at you. Dantes is in as well. Psalm from out in California. Good to see you. And Tango, yeah. Tango, tomato, FPV says Falcons love manifesting losses. Doesn't manifesting kind of mean creating them out of nothing? Just, you're manifesting it, or is that just creating, period? I'm not necessarily creating it out of nothing. But every once in a while, how about the fan base actually hypes up our squad? Sheesh. Oh, Tentago. Are you new here? Are you young? Have you not been beaten and ground into submission and your bones chewed up and spit out by this franchise yet? Brother, I love the optimism. I do. But Falcons pessimism and cynicism is well earned. It is. It's well earned. So I don't get on them too much for being a little cynical, because I'm cynical. It's definitely well earned. Speaking of well earned, here comes this guy, Nick Kendall, and he's living out of the closet now. It looks like. No. When are you on the move? When are you taking off?
A week from today is when the moving truck comes. I'm going to be in Seattle for a few days after that, because we're not subjecting the kid to the drive. So I'll be flying with him a few days, with the wife driving the car with the pets a few days ahead of us. So complicated. Then I'm going to be back in Seattle for a few days and then make the drive myself with our other car. But back and forth. Holding on. You should see. I mean, I don't know if I want to show up, but this whole wall here is just unbelievable amount of boxes packed up for our house. It's just.
I've lived in my house for almost 10 years, and that's how my house still looks. So
okay, well, a lot of crap.
I just hit my 25th anniversary, as a lot of y'all know, and pick your battles. And my wife does not get rid of things. I say it's kind of like living in the cabin of a first-class airplane. Everything's really nice, but no matter how much space you have, it always gets really tight. Got to move sideways down the aisles because there's stuff everywhere. Any flat space, table, countertop, chair becomes a shelf. It becomes stuff, things to sit up, and I just want to go through with a overpowered leaf blower and a dumpster and a match.
I can say what'll make you do that, though, is if you buy a new home, it's really a lot of. It doesn't help. Wow. Okay. You get a lot less sentimental when you're packing everything up.
It doesn't help. I had a 1,600 square foot townhouse in California. I was embarrassed at how much I had to pay for that when I moved from Atlanta.
Yeah.
Went to that into a 4,000 square foot house because we were lucky enough to stay employed during the downturn. So we upgraded when those prices crashed out. Mm-hmm. It was on the same street, actually. We bought a truck that was there for 2.5 to 3 rooms. We got a truck and hired some workers to come in and fill it 3 times. 3 times. And I loaded up my SUV probably 25 times myself and just drove back and forth. Unbelievable. All right, enough of that. Let's move on. John Harrell, Younghoe Koo still on the roster. We're bringing in competition. The competition, a guy that's never kicked an NFL field goal. That's not true. I looked up John Parker Romo after you said that because I didn't write the story when I saw him. Saw that he had signed to the practice squad. Bro was 11-12 last year, including 5 of 6 between 40 and 50 yards. He was 4 of 5 between 40 and 50. And then 50 plus, he was 1 for 1. So last year for the Minnesota Vikings in 2024, he was 11-12. I'll take it.
Yeah.
So We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I said before, I was only calling for one job, and somebody came in and got really mad in the comments. It's a bigger problem than this, and it goes down. It's always the boogeyman, Rich McKay, too, who really isn't as involved in the day-to-day operations as you guys. A lot of people would like to think he's the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain back there. And I'm like, listen, I'm not going to call for them firing everybody the day after the week one. It's not going to happen. Let's talk about things that actually possibly could happen, things you realistically have a chance to change from week one. I'm not talking about firing Raheem and Terry and Rich McKay on week one. That's fantasy land. That'll never happen. So, but John Parker Romo, he had a good year last year, Nick.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, he did. And I mean, God, we were sending texts back and forth as soon as that. I think I was 30 seconds ahead of you, maybe. But the coup kick, it's just like, we cannot have it. Especially because it's built off of last season as well. And sometimes you mention all the head coaching staff and all these other pieces. It's so intricate and there's so many pieces. Changing a kicker is about as easy as it gets. That's one variable. I mean, I think we might have talked about this on Monday too, but if the freaking Bills can bring in Matt Prater and run a fire drill where the clock is running to change, get the offense off and the special teams on and get the kick and nail it down with Matt Prater. Granted, he's 41, 42 years old. He's been around the league for a bit, but still, that's one variable. That's one that's an easy change. And with considering what Ku's making and built up of last season as well, it
was a last straw, Nick.
Yeah.
It wasn't, again, everybody's scapegoating Ku, but this all was wrong and this all was wrong and this was all wrong too. Yeah, I know. You're right. It wasn't all on Ku, and Ku making his would have tied. And we mentioned the Tampa Bay kicker missed one too. Tampa Bay didn't play all that well. That's why I titled the episode. It was a missed opportunity. Tampa didn't have a good game. That's not if that's as good as they're going to get, they're not going to be very good. And the Falcons missed an opportunity. And yes, it was a last straw for me for Ku. This was a culmination of last season as well. And once it gets in your head in a kicker, if you're playing 162 games in baseball, I'll let you keep swinging. You got to swing out of this. You're playing 82 games in basketball. Shooter's got to shoot. If he's going to take 30 shots a game, he might have to shoot his way out of this lump. You can't afford to do that in football with a kicker. There wasn't a single double-digit spread in the entire NFL last week. And the Falcons played 12 one-score games last year, and they were 6-6. Well, now they're 0-1. You can't afford to have a misfiring kicker, and you can change those. And it said nothing against Younghoe Koo. It's just the nature of the game, and these guys are well compensated. So, yes, I feel for the human being and the job aspect of it, but it's still a game, and it's a competitive sport. And if you've played a competitive sport or have children that have played in competitive sports, at some point in your life, you have been cut because you're not getting the job done. And that's what this is. That's what it boils down to. He's not getting the job done. Archangel, good to see you. Go ahead, Nick.
I was going to say you're absolutely right, though. It's well beyond Ku being the problem. I don't think anybody with, a realistic grasp on reality of the Falcons operation and the game on Sunday would say, Ku, if we fix this, it fixes everything.
Super Bowl team. No.
Yeah. No. Plenty of issues going on. I mean, defense, they played okay, but Baker had a good game. Egbuka, the coaching, of course, and it's special teams beyond Ku as well. So the one big takeaway, and maybe it doesn't make you feel any better in the moment, and the sample size is still small. I know I'm boring, sample size small, but Penix seems like a guy. Penix does seem like a guy. So you got that at least to lean back on, along with Bijan being a pretty special player. So still a fun season ahead. Obviously, that one might hurt in hindsight, but if Penix is a guy, it's going to not feel so bad over a long enough time period.
What's harder, to find a guy that can bring you back in the fourth quarter, or finding a kicker that can make 40 and under-yard field goals indoors? Well, you've got one. Which one would you rather have? So, yes, Penix looks really good, and some troll came in. Listen, I don't mind dissenting opinions at all. Nick and I will disagree on here at all. But if you come into the comments and just troll, I'm just going to ban you. If you're not interested in having a conversation, I'm not interested in you being on my channel. Some guy was like, Michael Penix top 15. Falcons fans are funny. I'm like, yeah, that's not exactly what I said. What I said was, at worst, if you're just spitting off the top of your head, wouldn't you think he's at least league average at worst, which is what, 15 or 16? So therefore, top 15 or 16 if he's league average. Right now, through 4 games, he doesn't look league average. He looks better than that. He looks really good. And these young quarterbacks, 6 first-round quarterbacks,
6 top 12.
Brother, they all look good.
Bo Nix didn't look so good, but
we've got a full year there. But you know what I mean? He's got a good year under his belt. And I just watched the Minnesota Vikings Chicago game. I didn't watch every single play. I watched the extended highlights, which is about 70% of the plays. And the way the ball comes out of their hands now, you see the throwing talent that Penix, that McCarthy, that Caleb Williams have. And you're like, yes, those are first-round arms, without a doubt. Mm-hmm. Now, how do they manage the position? That's what turns you into a quarterback long-term in this league. And Michael Penix looks really, really good out there. Michael Ronquillo, great to see you. Good morning, Scott and Nick on the Falcons podcast. Good morning back to you. Hope you are doing well. Atlanta Boy 8080 says, enough of the Jalen Edge experience. Put him where he will succeed. And Jesse sold that last TD by playing out of position. As far as he gave it up, those were both tight. Those both to Ibuka were like this close. Good plays, good throws. It's going to happen in this league. Again, if I hold Baker Mayfield to 23 points at home, I'm liking my chances. So you're not going to shut teams out in this league. They're going to make plays too. As far as Jalen Edge experience, enough of the Jalen Edge experience. He wasn't really used the way you drafted him to. James Pierce was, which is to pin your ears back and go after the quarterback. But those guys were Leonard Floyd and James Pierce. Jalen was in there earlier being a hold down the line, set the edge. So not necessarily edge rusher, but edge defender. And that's going to need to change. I don't have to see him on first and second down. That's going to need to change in order to get the best out of him. I don't need him to set an edge. That to be his primary role. I need him to go get the quarterback. And I think that'll change, Atlanta Boy. I hope that will change. 88.
Yeah, I mean, you have a lot of different guys there right now, and it'll settle itself over time. But Walker also missed a good chunk of the offseason as well. I mean, dealing with injuries. So It's good to have him have a role right now. We'll see that little hybrid ability of him on those early downs also gives him a advantage in pass coverage, and he's a physical player, so it's good to see him out there. And also it was good to see Pierce out there pin his ears back. I know he didn't get any sacks, but according to PFF, 4 pressures, 3 hurries logged. Just a matter of time. That Vikings offensive line looked a little shaky, so maybe we'll see some sacks this upcoming week against Minnesota.
Yeah, and we'll get into the Minnesota game here a little bit. I'll tell you, Nick, one of the things that surprised me, obviously, I say all the time, I'm wrong all the time on the Falcons because they do things so illogically. So you lose your first and second string right tackle, and you go to a third string right tackle who had previously played guard for you. What was one of the ways we thought we could help him, help him on that side of the ball? What was one of the way, really, we said that you could help him?
Run to his side and wear out the edge on his side and make him the aggressor rather than the reactor.
Okay, that's one way. The other way I was thinking was I'm going to put Charlie Warner in his hip.
Okay. Charlie Warner. Yep, that was the other one.
I'm going to put Charlie Warner in his hip. Charlie Warner played 42% of the snaps. I looked at that and I was going through snap counts, and I know I saw, because I mentioned on Monday, Eli Wilkinson, when he was put on an island, which happened more than I expected to, just off the eye test, he held up fine. He held up fine in pass protection. What I didn't realize was how little they used Charlie Warner. Mm-hmm. So I'm going basically, so I took my 2 best run blockers, and let's put Chris Lindstrom in there too. So 2 of my 3 best run blockers, I take them out of the game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you wonder why you can't run the game? I didn't take McGarry out. You know what I mean, though. My 2 best run blockers are missing. And then, the Falcons basically abandoned the run. It's not that they didn't have success running the ball, but you got to stick with it. If you're 22 carries for 44 yards at 2 yards a carry, it only takes 1 30-yard run to turn that 2.2 into a 4.3, and all of a sudden things look good. You cannot abandon who you are And the Falcons are Bijan Robinson and Tyler Algier running the ball and then working off of that. They've got to stick with that against let me hide this current comment. Thank you, Atlanta 88. They've got to stick with the run again, but they're gonna have to go no more than off tackle. They cannot try and stretch wide and turn corners against this Vikings team.
As a scientist, I can tell you that Sundays are only 24 hours long. But with NFL Sunday Ticket and YouTube TV, you get every game every Sunday all in one place. That's upwards of 30 hours of NFL in one day. How can there be 30 hours in 24 hours, you ask? I have a theory. Magic. New users get NFL Sunday Ticket for 8 payments of $34.50 per month. Sign up at NFLSundayTicket.com. Local and national games on YouTube TV. NFL Sunday Ticket for out-of-market games excludes digital-only games and commercial use. Terms and embargoes apply. Availability varies.
Are you a forward thinker? Then you need an HR and finance platform that thinks like you do. Workday is the AI platform that helps propel your organization, your workforce, and your industry into the future. Workday, moving business forever forward.
Yeah, I mean, the Vikings team is very aggressive. Well, they're either aggressive or not aggressive, right? It's either rush 8 or rush 3. Yeah, it's pretty crazy what Brian Flores does out there. But they do need to figure out more creative ways to deploy Bijan, just to get him in space. I'm curious to see. I mean, Penix right now firing the ball down the field, but with the aggression of the Vikings coming, maybe you can implement the screen game a little bit more. I know it's not ideal with the offensive line injuries that you've had, but deploying those guys, I mean, use Kyle Pitts as a weapon then. He's a big athlete in space. If he's not good in line, get him in the slot and have him get the advantage there. So we'll see. But yeah, Wilkinson, I thought, held his own for the game. Not a fantastic player by any means, but it held his own.
No, he wasn't a liability. He wasn't Eli Wilkinson being out there wasn't the reason the Falcons lost. You know, that was, again, they got dominated on special teams. Their special teams play beyond Younghoe Koo was terrible.
Yes.
And then Bradley Pinion had a nice game. And then after that, they not being able to contain Baker Mayfield. I think, Nick, you ran 5 times. I think all 5 were first downs, and they had 5 rushing first downs on the entire game. You know, and that ended up being the difference in the game. Carrie, good to see you this morning. Hope you're doing well. So I'm nervous about the run game. The Bucs had the goal to stop the run, and they did just that. Flores' defense is no joke. No, it's not. And especially against a young quarterback. But I think Penix is good enough to see things, and I'm not going to say slice them apart, but I did not necessarily want, even though I was done with Kirk Cousins, the way the Vikings were playing last year, and the season for me was already spiraling down the drain. I didn't want Michael Penix's first start to be on the road against the Vikings. Just send Kirk out there and sacrifice him. They still waited too long to make that change. They should have done it the week before. But I think he's more prepared now, is what I'm trying to say. That a lot of the same players are there, but I think he is out there now. He says, I do know MPJ. Carrie says, doesn't flinch under pressure, though. No. And for me, Nick, you've heard me say this before. For me, my ultimate measure of who's the best quarterback is who do I want the ball in his hands with 2 minutes left in the game. I don't mind. I want the ball in Michael Penix's hands. I feel good with the ball in his hands. And beyond that, Nick, I feel good about him getting touchdowns if he needs them late. Where Matt Ryan was always, most of Matt Ryan's comebacks, Matty Ice, most of his comebacks were field goals. You know, move the ball, get the game into field goal range and kick field goals. Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, the Falcons, their Achilles heel on offense was always the red zone. I think with a little extra firepower, a little extra velocity, and the running ability, Michael Penix is more of a red zone threat. I feel really good with him, the ball in his hands from what we've seen early in his career, late in games.
Doesn't hurt to have the 2 running backs that you have either when the field gets compressed and you need a few yards. Granted, didn't really manifest as much in this Tampa Bay game, but in general, I feel pretty good about that. But I don't disagree at all. Heck of a game for Penix. Again, I saw a comment into your top 5 quarterback. I'm not quite ready to dub him anything like that, but I mean, right now he has a chance to be as good as anybody drafted in that class, and he looks like the real deal. It is unfortunate for him, with the defense and special teams, not really setting him up for success. It's kind of the opposite of Denver, but he's definitely set up for statistics. So if you got him in fantasy, that'll be good. And I do see some questions in the chat also about Drake London. Haven't heard anything. I think Wednesday, typically you start to get an idea. Today. He's questionable. Sunday night, he's been one of the league leaders in targets here over the last, since Penix has taken the field. So he's on one of my fantasy teams. I don't know if I told you guys that in the chat. I messaged Scott. I had the 12th pick in a 12-team league, and I got Drake London. So hoping he's healthy, but we'll be following that one, but haven't heard anything as far as the in or out yet, other than he's questionable still.
Island Mike, good to see you. Michael Lewitzki says JJ looked good in the second half, and he can run way better than Baker. He's a different kind of runner. I wouldn't say way better than Baker, because Baker's a good runner. JJ's a good runner. Caleb Williams is different. Those guys can run. Caleb Williams is a weapon running the ball. He's running away from guys. But yes, JJ can absolutely run the ball, and he can also plant his back foot and make every throw in the book. So it's a matter of that pick six. It's funny. I didn't know when it was. And when I was watching, I knew he had thrown one, but they loaded up heavy on him. And then they had the corners do the smart thing. Press. Let's jump the route. They loaded up heavy on him. He steps back and fires because he recognizes a blitz. And my first thought was, oh, nice. Recognize a blitz, get rid of the ball quickly. But he threw it about 40 yards across the field on the opposite hash to an out route, and it went the other direction. So those are the kind of things you want from a rookie. If you're going to pressure him, then play tight. Make sure that you're all over the receivers and expect the pressure and contain. Yes, they've got the weapons to beat you downfield, but golly, it's just a killer when you do everything right and the quarterback gets 7 yards on 3rd and 5. It's just a killer. It's demoralizing, Nick.
Yeah, absolutely demoralizing. God, it makes me think of Russell Wilson in his heyday, where he just a squirmy, sneaky little, frustrating with the Seahawks. But yeah, no, the Vikings will be interesting. Well, I am going to be curious to see if Christian Darrisaw plays. He's been one of the better tackles in football over the last couple of years, and he was inactive versus the Bears, working back from, I think it was an ACL. It might be Achilles. I cannot remember what his season-ending injury was, but that offensive line is definitely worse without him there. So maybe another game you can take advantage of the offensive line and the James Pierce, Walker, Ebiketie getting after the quarterback. And I mean, gosh, McCarthy looked good, but it is a one-game sample against the Bears and a new defense as well. So we'll see. I mean, granted, I'd probably take the Bears defense on paper over Atlanta's right now, but you have some pieces and can take advantage of it all the same. We got Larry. Is Koo getting real competition? Because that's Scott saying Lenny's a project. Yeah, he's getting real competition, and it's rightfully so.
And a project to me means just getting the experience too. As far as, would I rather miss with a young guy who hasn't missed yet and learns and see if he can grow, over a guy that seems to have gotten the yips, a veteran that seems to have gotten the yips. And the other part is this, the second part of this is Lenny's not just a project. He's inexperienced, but he can also kick the ball through the uprights from 70 yards. I mean, his leg is unbelievable. The old thing, in basketball used to be, if I'm going to miss, I want to miss on a 7-footer. If I'm going to miss, I want to miss on a 6'6", 300-pound guy with good feet, or a 4'4", 40 guy, or a kicker that can kick the ball through the freaking moon. Mm-hmm. That's the guy I want to miss on. If I'm going to miss on the guy with upside. I don't see any upside right now. And again, you're giving up on Koo too soon. No, I'm not. That's the nature of this business. You can't kick your way out of a slump in this business. You just can't. And the 49ers just cut their kicker, who had a worse season than Koo last year. He'll pick up somewhere on a practice squad or whatnot, and he'll get a chance somewhere else. That's the nature of the business on this one. If he was in college, he'd be benched, and they've got 4 kickers on the roster. It'd be somebody else on this one. And Sam says, several teams are out. Yeah, there were a lot of missed kicks over the weekend. There were a lot. I watched another one, in Monday night with the Vikings and Bears. There was another missed field goal in that one.
You have missing extra points in the Sunday night game, I think, as well. I mean, it's just, I don't know. Case of the yips. We got Sip thoughts. I want a competent kicker again. I thought I'd never have to say that, but here we are. I wouldn't say it's champagne problems necessarily because, man, it's frustrating. But kicker is still down the list a bit for me. And would you rather have the kicker?
But the thing is, the Falcons have had really, really, really good kickers. So that's more about the long. It's like, wait a minute. You've heard me say this about the running backs, Nick. Even when the Falcons were terrible, they've had great running backs. So not being able to run the ball hurts the heart of an old school Falcons fan with William Andrews and Gerald Riggs and Michael Turner and Ironhead Hayward, John Settle being the first free agent to ever rush for 1,000 yards. It goes on and on and on. Really good running backs. So to see these guys misfiring like this is like, what the? No, we do kicking in Atlanta. Morton Anderson, Matt Bryant, those guys kicked for 20 years. So it is a problem. And again, not scapegoating Koo, because Koo didn't lose this game. At best, it would have been tied, and the other kicker missed one too. But again, last straw. This is a culmination of last season. This is a last straw kick, not a, oh my God, this is no. This has been building. Yeah. This isn't coming out of left field. And the other part of this, Michael says, he was terrible on kickoffs too. Terrible. Watching the game last night. I watched it this morning. It wasn't last night. Sorry. Like I said, it all kind of runs together. The Minnesota Vikings kicker was putting the ball on the 1 every time, making them return it. And the field position difference was between the 22 and 27-yard line instead of the 35 or 40 where the Falcons defense seems to start every single freaking drive after a score. So it is. He was bad on kickoffs too. Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, what are you here for? What is exactly you do here? So hopefully Koo will start to I don't know. I've seen enough, Scott. I know that last year he won Special Teams Player of the Week. Granted, that's more situational than anything. If you get the opportunities when you're a kicker, then you can get.
So did Troy Anderson in that same game, I think.
Yeah, nice.
So did Troy Anderson. We haven't seen hide nor hair of him either since then.
NFL, not for long, and one game doesn't mean much, and
what
that
have
can
you done
go
for me lately?
Either way.
Next man up. You use all the cliches you want to. When you're making millions of dollars, you got to deliver. As the compensation has gone up, so have the expectations and the lack of loyalty, so to speak. Of millions of dollars buys you the privilege of saying goodbye. Gary Opalco, we say hello. $2 super chat. Thank you, my friend. He says, thanks for the video, guys. Let's get a W on Sunday. Gary, it's because of people like you that we're here. We love doing this, but it makes this so we can do this. Speaking of which, there's something I want to, now that I've learned a little bit more about it, I did set up memberships on this channel. YouTube was pushing it. They were promoting it. And I was like, okay, and I watched Mile High Huddle do it. And what it ends up being is, first off, it's a great way to support what we do, to make sure that our wives let us keep doing this and not going out and doing other things. So if you appreciate the effort and the content that we're doing, getting a membership is a great way to support what we do. There's 2 tiers. I called them the Nest and the Perch. The Perch was up higher, so it was a little more expensive. After that, what I'm going to start doing is when stuff breaks, we'll write it up on the website. I don't necessarily do anything on YouTube. I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to start grabbing, breaking news, my quick hitters thoughts on it. And those will end up being members only videos. As far as, hey, the Falcons just signed John Parker Romo. He was 11 of 12 for the Minnesota Vikings last year, including 5 of 6 from 40 to 50 yards. This is legitimate competition for Koo. You would have heard that on Monday. That type of stuff. So we're going to start doing those things as well. I'm going to drop this in the chat real quick for all the sites, for the Facebook pages too, if you want to come over and be a member. I want to say thank you who helped try and figure it out. My first member was Brian Anthony. He's got his Braves logo on there, and you get a little avatar. I'm probably going to turn it into a bird, into a Falcons logo on there. So you show up here as one of the as there. And my second one, who went and said, how do I do this? And was really good about following up on it. So I know he really wanted to do it, was Marcus Cook. So shout out to our first 2 members of Brian Anthony and Marcus Cook. But it's a great way to support the channel, support what we do. And we will provide value beyond that as well, beyond your just saying, hey, thanks for helping us be able to keep doing what we do. We will provide you some extra benefits as well. Yeah. Nick, Martin, we're gonna get on Koo, and then we're gonna move over a little bit. He says, honestly, Koo's accuracy has decreased year over year since the end of the 2013 season. Well, 2024, he got off to a decent start, so that was just last year. So but he wasn't great in 2023 either. So he had a perfect year, not perfect year, but his best year. And then 2023 was solid. 2024, it kind of fell off the rails. You know, he had the special teams player of the week, kicked the 4 field goals against the Saints, I think. And then it went off the rails. You could blame injury on that. Again, Kirk Cousins gets a lot of shtick for trying to play through an injury. Younghoe Koo did the same thing. That's what professionals do. And it hurt him. And for me, it's too late now to try and come back. He thought he was back. Great camp, healthy, feeling good, great preseason. Shanks the first kick he makes and barely made another one, and then was terrible on kickoffs. I think we've made our points. Well, you know how we feel about Younghoe Koo. It's time.
And honestly, it was time for us, Scott, at least for me. When the cuts happened, I was ready to move on. If you are older and more expensive, I tend to go with the tie. Now, granted, they're seeing a lot more than I am, so they have a better idea, and they got to go with who they trust because jobs are very much on the line this season in Atlanta. But I don't know. I don't have a lot of sympathy for the older, more expensive guys. You have a shorter leash and kind of run your welcome out, especially with the valiant effort kind of being wasted by offense and Michael Penix. It just makes it sting that much more. And against Tampa, who, again, might look back week 18 being like, God, screw you, Koo. Like that was one play away. Yeah.
And I've told you, you've heard me say this before, Nick. I hate that it comes down to an individual like that on kickers. Especially, when I would watch them do that to high school kids, they would inevitably fail. If it wasn't a chip shot, the pressure put in, because I'd go to high profile games for the most part when I was covering recruiting in top 50 in the nation and stuff. You put that on a 16-year-old kid, he misses. And to me, football is the ultimate team game. It's you don't have one guy take over a game the way you do in other sports, whether it's, basketball. You get a good pitcher, you get a hot pitcher in baseball, you can beat anybody. You get a hot goalie in hockey. It's the ultimate team game. And the kicking game is an individual thing. It individualizes it and puts it all on one guy. And that's the only really time it does that in the sport. And I don't like that aspect of it, but it is the nature of the beast. And they know what they were signing up for when they got into it, especially at this level. And
it's kind of like
several $1 million.
It's kind of like a shootout in soccer. Like it's a different game entirely, but
right.
You put yourself in that situation to depend on it at that point. So if you don't like it, stop the touchdown, the drive before, score more points. This is what it comes down to. That's that. I'm with you, Scott, but I
feel for him, but it is what it is, as Nick Saban once would have said. Kanon Rottweiler, $2. Penix, best rookie opening day quarterback since Matt Ryan of 2008. Well, there's not a lot of competition in there. Desmond Ridder didn't play until how long? And because if you want to talk about debuts for the Falcons, rookie debuts, who played as rookies? Who debuted as rookies since Matt Ryan in 2008? Desmond Ridder got some time as a rookie, and then Michael Penix Jr. made his debut as a rookie last year. That's it. After that, if you want to say as far as first-time starters for the Falcons, well, they've had, 5 different quarterback opening day now. Matt Ryan in 2021. 2022 was Marcus Mariota. 3 was Desmond Ridder. 4 was Kirk Cousins. And 5, this is our 5th year together, Nick. 5 was Michael Penix Jr. So as far as best rookie openings, hell, that 2023 team that spit the bit put Will Levis in the Hall of Fame. If you remember that, Arthur Smith and that 2023 team put Will Levis and the Tennessee Titans in the Hall of Fame for having the best debut of all time. So the Falcons were involved in that tango. Remember Tango? I know. I was reading your comments, and for me, you are a young Falcons fan. 31 still young to me, brother. We've earned our cynicism. We put Will Levis in the Hall of Fame.
Penix, no, look good though. Happy to have him. Obviously, with the Falcons, going to be exciting. Really hoping that Drake London is healthy for this game. You're going to need him versus Minnesota, having that security blanket, somebody that if you do send splits, you can toss it to. But yeah, Penix, you should feel pretty good about that. I mean, big picture from the general manager, head coach, it's the defensive infrastructure. This is not I'm going to say this and it's going to clip. Hopefully I'm wrong, but I can pretty safely say, Scott, I think this is not a Super Bowl team this season.
That's not a hot take. I know,
but
Nick has been getting some shtick in the comments about being a pessimist. Nick's like that everywhere. Nick and I say we're brothers from Missouri. We're both show me. You got to show me on this. So no, it's not a hot take to say this isn't a Super Bowl team. It's not expected to be. I think the run for it, what they were planning for, with the drafting and everything, and the way the money sets up on Cousins' contract, that they were hoping that 2027, 2028 might be their window to move into that.
Yeah, it's a ways down the line, but it's going to require the right coaching staff in place. And right now, I would say not strong votes of confidence for Raheem Morris. I'm not. There's people in chat, calling for his head or already out. I'm not there yet. He gets this season unless, you lose institutional control, as the NCAA would like to put it. But right now, again, what's the hardest thing, the most important thing? The quarterback. I think you got a guy with Penix. As long as he can stay healthy, you need to build the infrastructure around him to protect him. But that's the big thing here. Scott Dillon, now he's playing as a draft pick of Penix, make more sense or still crazy? He's not crazy anymore. It's just in conjunction. Is that the right word? Concurrence with the Kirk Cousins signing. And that says we're going for it now versus the draft being we're going for it 3 years from now. It's just disconnected, disconjointed, whatever you want to call it. I know ideally you have teams that free agency is more about the now and the draft is more about long-term, but that's for teams that are like the Chiefs right now. You're picking at the very bottom of the first round, not lottery picket quarterback shifting. So I think in hindsight, though, it's worked out obviously as good as you can. A sunk cost with Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, and know what happened, Nick? Again, I'm gonna interrupt on this because I've got the video. Scott, if you want to hit me up on DMs or something, I've got the video on my YouTube. I reposted it the Monday, but it was the Monday after the draft, and it wasn't about Penix. If you go all the way back to January and stuff, getting a quarterback in this class always made sense. There were 6 first-round guys in the top 12. The Falcons needed a quarterback. Getting one always made sense. Mm-hmm. It was the allocation of resources that was crazy. And that meant signing Kirk Cousins. If you want Penix, you don't sign Kirk Cousins. And if anybody says, well, they wouldn't have been able to get Penix without spending $100 million on Cousins, you're just wrong. I mean, that's just wrong. Well, so-and-so was trying to trade up for him. Well, who says the Falcons couldn't have traded up for him? You think that the Giants at 6 or whatever it was wouldn't have rather had the 8th pick than the 13th pick of the Raiders? That's just dumb. That's just you're just manifesting. There's a word again. Manifesting reasons to believe in.
I know every operating system like the back of my hand.
I have 25 years of experience and have worked with several people from your company. I've been recognized for my passion. My team is everything.
LinkedIn delivers candidates who rise above the rest. With an up-to-date view into shared connections, skills, and interests you won't find anywhere else. See why 86% of small businesses who post a job on LinkedIn get a qualified candidate within a day. Post a job for free at linkedin.com/achieve. LinkedIn, your next great hire is here.
Hey, this is Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast, here to help you make the most of your summer with Michelob Ultra, a superior light beer worth playing for. Play for it with the guys when you're competing to see who can sink more birdies on the golf course, because winning tastes even better with Ultra on the line. Play for Ultra. Fill your fridge with Michelob Ultra this summer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
It's bias beyond control is what
Scott,
it is.
If you have a chance to spend a 4-year, $180 million contract with a $100 million guaranteed smokescreen, you do it every time, right?
$100 million smokescreen. No. So, Scott, no. Getting the quarterback in that draft always made sense, but do it the way the Vikings did. $10 million for Sam Darnold and draft J.J. McCarthy. You could have done that. And then what else did the Vikings do? They got Jonathan Bernard and Andrew Van Ginkel as free agents. Maybe you're able to spend that money, and you're not threadbare at other positions where you're having to trade up all the time to get back-to-back first-round edge rushers because your pass rush is so bad. So
I think the
allocation of resources, Scott, was crazy. Getting the quarterback in that draft was always the right move.
Yep. I think we kind of cobbled together our ideal plan was paying Daniel Hunter big money to finally solve
Daniel Hunter. And we don't know how hard they tried on that.
Yeah.
But
once you got Cousins, though, I think it's kind of hard the money there.
You needed getting the young quarterback was the right move for this franchise. They just blew $100 million before doing it. And that was mind-boggling. Nobody has done it that way for a reason, and nobody will probably ever do that again. It was a poor allocation of resources. But getting Michael Penix again will cover a lot of ills on that one. So, but appreciate the comment on that. Coming again, Darth Rev. This feels like a newer name. I feel like I would recognize that name in the very cool, I was going to say avatar, but profile picture on there. Darth Rev, he says, absolutely love you guys. Well, I appreciate it. Oh, there you go. I never catch you live, but I always watch the video. Well, thank you, my friend. And I love it when y'all get a chance to come in and say hello, because we do about 8 times of our total views are after the fact. So I love it when y'all are able to come in and say hello. Pitts looks solid, need more deep chances, but Mooney should open that up more. 2 things on this, Nick. 1, 59 yards for Michael Pitts. For Kyle Pitts, over 17 games, averages to like 1,003 yards. So that's good. Now we need some touchdowns. 59 yards and a touchdown, 55 yards and a touchdown looks a lot better. The second part of this, I agree with you, Darth Rev. Mooney will help. But if you've got first-round picks all across your offensive line, I've got a top 10 pick at wide receiver, a top 10 pick at tight end, a top 10 pick at quarterback, a top 10 pick at running back, and my offense falls apart because Darnell Mooney's not there, my offense is crap.
Yeah.
So it needs to get better, period. Mooney will help, but he can't be the key, or something's wrong. Something's wrong. And it wasn't. They moved the ball well. So again, that's why I can't listen to sports radio, because I'm too opinionated. I'm like, I hear somebody say, "Oh, Mooney's really the key to this offense to open up," blah blah blah. I just steam starts shooting out of my ears. If that's the case, this offense isn't good enough. If he's the key, because he's not the key. The offense was good enough yesterday. This week, the last game, it was good enough. There's just things that need to improve. And Mooney will help. Don't get me wrong. He is a difference maker. But he's not the key to the freaking season.
No, and coming out of this game, granted, again, 1 game sample size, but not good enough from the run game in general. And it's not fair to put everything on Michael Penix. And you have 2 great running backs, but Algier going 10 for 24 yards, 2.4 yards per carry, a long of 5, and Bijan going 12 for 24, a long of 6, average of 2 yards per carry. That's not going to get it done at all. And that's not fair to pay. The fact that he was able to guide the offense as much as he did, with the defense being not a horrible game for the defense. I thought they did okay against Baker.
The defense overall, Nick, had a good game, especially when you look at where Tampa was last year. Tampa was a top 5 offense last year. They held him like 250 yards.
Yep.
And Baker to 167 yards receiving. The defense did its job.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, it'd have been nice if they not gave up that touchdown in the last whatever.
But at least they gave it up quickly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But the big shock for me is the run game. And I know Vita Vea is one of the best nose tackles in football. And Bulls has done a pretty good job, obviously, for that team for what they've done in the NFC South. But that is shockingly bad from the run game.
The other part of it was 15 targets for 55 yards to Drake London. Fellas, y'all, ladies and gentlemen, that's a bad running back line, let alone at wide receiver. If I had 15 carries for 55 yards, that's 3 and change per touch. That's not a good running back line. That's an awful wide receiver line. Mm-hmm. That's an awful wide receiver line. That's got to get better. Do we believe that Michael Penix and Drake London will get better than 3.5 yards per target? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. That'll at least double coming out. If he gets 15 targets, he's going to have 100 yards. this was an anomaly. So that will get better. There's another reason why how do the Falcons bounce back? That's how. Drake will get better. There was lots of things to like on this. Tintango, great to see. Thank you. Like I said, I still consider you a young Falcons fan, and I appreciate you being now a young member with us. Became a YouTube member, so thank you so much. Shout out to you. Certainly appreciate it. And then Denver Luke coming in with a super sticker. Thank you, Denver. Always one of our biggest supporters as well. So we're about to wrap this up here before too long. And, Andre over on Facebook, he says, Zach called an extremely vanilla game. He called plays like he was scared. And they abandoned the running game, that's for sure. And the team that can't run on a 1 to go, a 1st and 1, and can't run, oh, that's scary. That's a scary sign. I think that will change. I really do. I don't have any doubt that really any team. I mean, if you're 1st and goal at the 1 and you're watching, don't you pretty much chalk it up as a touchdown like 90% of the time? And you didn't get the feeling that they were gonna score, that they could move the ball, that they would try to move the ball moving forward like that. And several of you have talked about being in the pistol like that. That's not a goal to go formation, 1 yard to go type of formation, 4th and 1 formation. So I think there will be adjustments. If you remember last year I wrote bizarre in the title 50 times of articles we wrote against the Pittsburgh Steelers. There will be adjustments. There will be improvements. Zach Robinson, over the course of 17 games, had a very good season last year. His week 1 last year was an F. It was an absolute F and F. His week 1 this year was like a C. See, it's got to improve, but I don't have much doubt they will, Nick.
No doubt. Oh, the little guy's up and just fell down. I hear some screaming. Maybe he just saw the coup highlight on the missed kick. But no doubt. It has to get better, and we're on Raheem watch in the sense that these games are mattering, but he still should get the runway of the season. If we've learned anything from Arthur Blank, he is loyal and give those people a chance to figure it out, but still frustrating. No doubt. Sorry, definitely got distracted by the screen. That sounded like a large thud. He did fall the other day, and nobody knows. That's the first time I'd seen that. So
see, I'm home alone, so all I have is the 15-pound cat knocking on the door. I had to shut it because I knew he'd be looking for me with the house empty.
Ah, man. Yep. Ninja. If you have any advice for moving pets across country, let me know. But
they sleep. I've done it twice. I took two shepherds. I took one way, and then I was there for 10 years, so I lost him while I was there, and I had another one, and he was my last shepherd. He was so scared of everything. They neutered him at like 8 weeks as a rescue, and like the poor guy never had a chance. He was just scared of everything. He threw up in the car before I even got out of my neighborhood.
Oh my God.
But I kept him in his crate. I kept him in his crate. That's his safe spot. And I never heard him again. And we drove for 2.5, 3 days. So it's pretty easy. So I've done it twice. And then flew. I think they flew with the cats. They flew with the cats. But yeah, like I said, we're about to get out of here. I want to say thank you. Let me hit that one last time through see what's on your minds before we get out of here at the very bottom here. And Keith going up with our bad C word. At least the Falcons don't seem comfortable with coup, with comfortable in the quotation marks. Absolutely. I mean, there's a problem in here. Ron talking about using Krieg on extra points and long field goals and let Pinion do kickoffs. Let Krieg do it with his leg strength. Let him do kickoffs. Yeah. I would much rather have Krieg in there. And a new kicker, there's the hope. Right now, hope makes this world go round. Hope is the good feelings we have that things are going to be better. With Krieg in there, we've got hope that he's going to make it. With right now, it's like, oh, I hope he doesn't miss it. It's a hope for a positive. It's a much better feeling than the dreading of the negative. And the negative is just all over coup right now. So let me see here. Jordan says, pretty dumb to even be talking about Raheem, just make our kicks in close division games. Well, he is the coach, and we talk about Raheem a lot. We will talk about him a lot, and we've contemplated, what's he need to definitely be the coach next year. I'm not convinced that you get the automatic 3 years with this team. They came in with what was a playoff-ready team and put $100 million into a quarterback and then missed the playoffs. So I don't think it's too dumb. You start off 0-2, and then let's see if anybody else is talking about it, because there are people talking about it. His name's already in the news out there. Definitely had opportunities to win. Like I said, it was I put it in the title, opportunity lost. It wasn't even just opportunities to win. Like, oh yeah, we were in the game and we had a chance. That's how I feel about some softball and baseball games I watch with my kids. I'm like, okay, this team's a lot better. If we just play close, it means we're on the right track. No. Falcons had every opportunity to win this game for sure. Yeah. On that note, and it is a long season arc, without a doubt. It is a long season. I got asked last week, Monday, do you have any faith that they can win this game? Well, faith in my sports teams is the wrong way to put it. Do I like the chances better going to Minnesota than I did their chances going to Philadelphia in week 2 last year? Absolutely. I would have put it at 5% last year after that Pittsburgh showing. To me, this game against the Vikings is a pick'em. I think this is a pick'em.
Yeah, and I expect it really feels like the Vikings are drinking the Kool-Aid right now. I don't know how they're feeling in the locker room, but I am just shocked about, we found our answer. Finally, I'm excited as I've been in a while. And first round quarterback can do that, but I didn't think he looked like a world beater by any means, Scott, versus
it's recency bias. So. In the fourth quarter, he looked fantastic. The first 3 quarters, he looked, oh my God.
Yeah.
That's how fickle fandom is. Short for fanatic. So we'll see. And he can throw. He absolutely can throw. He's got plenty of tools again, but how do you manage the game is what makes you a quarterback in this league. It's not, can you throw the ball through a brick wall? It's how do you manage the game? Are you accuracy under pressure? How do you deal with the pressure of winning and the pressure in your face? That's what makes you on this one. Darth coming in again. He says, we can't expect Penix to be Superman every week. Absolutely. You cannot. He's going to have some off games too, and then people will say, put Kirk in there. Somebody will. Most rational people won't, but no, everyone's going to have an off game. And what's nice is the Falcons should have the ability to lean on their running game, but they can't abandon it. They can't abandon the running game. And they did. They abandoned it when it mattered against Tampa. And you're going to have to go right at the Vikings. You cannot go side to side. They will kill you if you try and go horizontally on this team.
Yeah, I do think, though, that I do have to get going, Scott, but I do think that, horizontally, yes, but you have to figure out how to manufacture touches for Bijan if the run game isn't working, because he's just too good with the ball in his hands. So can it be horizontally if it's a screen game or a quick pass or angle routes, Texas route, whatever it is, especially if Drake London is hobbled, let alone out? Got to figure out ways to get the ball to your playmaker. But this is a tougher matchup for the Falcons offense than what they had last week.
Yeah, and I think it'll be a tougher matchup for the Vikings offense. I think the Falcons defense is better than the Bears. So there will be on both of those. I do. I think the overall, I think the Falcons defense is better, and they'll be able to game plan for McCarthy and some of the things he likes to do. That I think it will be a tougher matchup. That said, I think the offenses will be better across 60 minutes because they've got a game under their belts. So it should be a cleaner game. There was some sloppy play. There were some jaw-dropping highlight plays in that Vikings-Bears game, but there was also a lot of sloppiness in it too. Week 1. And again, the Buccaneers didn't play great, and the Falcons didn't play great. It was a hard-fought game between two evenly matched teams who should improve as they go forward, especially with the young players on both sides of the ball. So, looking forward to this matchup on Sunday night, and we will see you on Monday. Be sure to come back in on Thursday. Garrett will have his take on the previews of the games after being at Flowery Branch all week. He will do his preview. And yes, to those of you who watched after the fact, the guy that we had on from Tampa Bay was a homer. Homer. Yes, we know. We know. I'm not sure if he's got another guest, but we're going to try and find someone a little more objective if we do it again. On that note, we're going to get out of here. Thanks again to our new members who are out there. Tango coming in. Appreciate you, my friend. Greg, Atlanta, Gary, Martin. Thank you very much. K9 coming in. Darth Rev several times. Denver Luke. You'll help keep these lights on, keep this forehead nice and shiny, keep the wheels running. We will see you on Monday. Y'all have a great rest of your week. Thanks for being here, everybody.
Peace.